Hey everybody, welcome to the 3Cast. I'm your host, Matthew Ripper. I'm joined by Vincent.
What's up?
Ricky is supposed to be here. He said he was going to be here. He's not here. Now, if anybody had that spot on your bingo card, you can mark that off.
I think that's the free spot in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so this is the 3Cast. We review things, movies, TV shows, comic books. Every once in a while we talk about technology and stuff. We're going to talk about the consoles and iPhones and stuff. I'm sure at one point, I'm sure Ricky will put the iPhones on there. At some point, we'll talk about those. If he decides to show up for one of these again. Anyway, so this time, we've been going very, very slowly through the James Bond series, and very recently, Sean Connery died. So, in his memory, we decided to watch the last Bond film of which he acted in, is Diamonds Are Forever. This is the what is this like the sixth one?
Dude, I don't know, man.
It's the seventh James Bond series. It's the one after the George Lazenby one. So Sean Connery was there for 5, then George Lazenby came in, sucked for 1, and then Sean Connery came back and sucked for a 7th one.
Well, big shoes to fill, man. And
yeah,
and I thought there was also like money on the table. I thought there was money discussions too, wasn't it?
Oh, I'm sure that's the reason why he came back was because of money. I mean, because I'm pretty sure we talked about this before. But the one that was before this, what was that? Thunderball? I can't remember. Or On Her Majesty's Circus Service? I can't remember. It's one of those two. But anyways, that like flopped because they didn't have Sean Connery. Like it didn't make any money.
Well, and it was also cheesy, and I mean, it ended. Remember, if you recall, it ended with him getting married, which is like the exact opposite of James Bond. So,
and you thought that the way this movie was going to end too, right? Because she asked that question. She was going to ask a question, but it really turned out to be about the diamonds. Anyway, so Vince has asked me to do the summary on this, and so this starts off with him, quote unquote, killing Blofeld.
Yep, Blofeld. Yep.
Who is his nemesis from the movie that he was previously in, a couple times, right? He's the guy with the cat. I mean, when Blofeld first shows up, they don't show his face, but then this one here, there's several actors wearing his face. So the story begins with them talking about diamonds and coming from Africa and things being hoarded and the market share and why exactly the British Secret Service's this is the British Secret Service's job to pay attention to this. I'm not exactly sure. It's never really explained. And Bond's mission is to go find some diamonds, and he does find some diamonds, but they're not the real diamonds. It's the most convoluted plot in the history of plots. He gets involved with this woman named Chase, who he's actually with throughout the entire movie, which is very un-Bond-like. And it turns out that the main, I mean, for a while there, you think that she's the villain, but she's not the villain. She ends up being turned to the good side. Then you think these two hapless, guys are the villain. And it turns out they're just the henchmen for the guy that Bond was supposedly killed, at the beginning because he didn't actually kill him. Oh, look at this. Ricky might actually show up.
What? Okay, cool.
Well, so we'll add him here when he's ready. Anyways, so in the grand scheme of things, Blofeld's still the villain.
Yep.
He manages to clone himself, but then Bond kills the clone, or not the clone. I mean, double. I mean,
Yeah, the body double. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like at the end, we don't really actually see Blofeld die, so he's probably still around after this, right?
Yep. I mean, that's the thing. Like, man, okay. So this is the last Connery one, right?
This is the last Connery one.
Yeah. So Legacy, that is the cliffhanger and the way this ends, especially in America. Not a fan, man. Not a fan.
Yeah. All right. So I have so many. All right, so Rick, before we get started, let's go ahead and see if we can add Ricky. He's going to have Skype problems, guaranteed.
And then he's going to complain about Skype, Microsoft, you name it, the usuals.
If he gets right on the first time trying and everything works, Ricky, can you hear us?
Yeah, hold on.
Oh, wow.
Holy crap!
Apparently, he's in the Bond villain lair. You can hear the echo and the resonance.
Yes.
Hold on, let me try to fix this stupid thing.
No, you sound fine. You sound fine.
There we
Well, except
go.
for now, I can hear myself like twice. That didn't happen.
It should stop because I switched to my headphones. So
Okay.
all right.
So we're talking about Bond, Ricky. I just got done doing a very poor summary of the movie.
I don't even know if you even got through like the first half, honestly, man.
It's hard for me to summarize this because it's so. So I mean, the main plot is that he's using the diamonds for some kind of satellite in order to control the nuclear system, systems, I guess, of both Russia and the United States, right?
Yep.
So I mean, that's a plot we've seen before, and Bond's there to. He's running it all off from an oil rig in the Pacific Ocean, and they come in with these attack helicopters, which look like news helicopters. To
And they blow up so easily too, just for the record.
Well, yeah, that and this whole operation is ran off a cassette tape. I mean, the whole thing is ran off from like a John Philip Sousa cassette tape. It's really weird.
Which, to be fair, I've heard that the U.S. Department of Defense is still using like 386s with floppy drives. So
wait, why?
No, you never heard that? It's like because they're like missile systems, the guidance systems and stuff. It's like custom code, right? And like you can't upgrade the computer because it won't run anymore.
So wait, you're telling me basically, without jumping to another movie, we're like basically talking War Games kind of thing with Matthew Broderick, that kind of shit?
Yeah, pretty much.
That is terrible. Okay, so can we talk about some of the basics of this movie? Just because there's so many. Like, let's come back to Diamonds Are Forever. Okay.
Go ahead, Vince. You tell us about what you think.
Well, okay. I think that it hits all of the major notes that you typically see in a Bond movie. Lots of beautiful women, various locales of various sorts. Even almost, I mean, this is, I guess, preemptively jumping the gun to what's his name? What's Moonraker? Which one is that? What's the Bond on that one? Roger Moore, right? It kind of lays the groundwork. So it's not only does he go to weird, surreal places like Las Vegas, but he also brings the audience to quasi moon kind of territory. It also panders to the cliches of the the Bond villain lair, right? That weird pit. For the life of me, could you explain the mud pit thing? I couldn't get like it was like caustic mud,
like at the beginning where he drowns the guy.
Yeah,
I don't know. I can't explain any of the death scenes in this movie, Vince. The death scenes in this movie are so terrible. The guy who gets they put a scorpion down the back of his shirt,
mm-hmm.
and it's like a delayed reaction of like 10 minutes or something. I mean, it's not really, but it's like it's a horrible overacted scene. And then there's the where Bond kills the fake Blofeld or whatever.
Yeah.
He gets shot in the forehead, and then like it's like a 30-second delay, and then all of a sudden he's flying backwards. I mean, it's horrible.
To be fair, for that time, that's not really unheard of.
Okay.
Lots of movies have that.
but just hear me out here, okay? Because I think that there was also the kind of cliche James Bond stuff, not only beyond the villain's cave, but also the kind of weird gizmos he had. I mean,
and
like
the phrases that he uses.
The punchlines. Like, I mean, yeah, I can't remember the cheesy lines he says in this one. Yes. But then, like, I found it weird. Like, did they just get budget cuts? Like, James Bond's super gimmick from Q is the kind of like souped up mousetrap that's in his clothing. I was like, what's going on here? And then, like, it's because it happens in America, the exoticness kind of goes away. And I know, like, listen, for its day, Circus, okay, as a casino in Las Vegas, that was like a really big deal, right? It was like this kind of spectacle of a building. I get it, right? But outside of that, like, I felt very kind of unbond. It didn't feel like a Bond movie on a lot of levels, where it, like, even though it hit the same marks, like, again, we talked about all those major things, like you got the bad guy, you got the women and all that stuff, and quasi gimmicks, but like, because it's in America, I think it really needed to be outside of America. Like, you see everyone's just kind of Americana, North Americans. You see, I mean, to the point where I thought, like, for a second, I was trying to figure out, is it the Blues Brothers, or are those guys just in Las Vegas that just dressed like the Blues Brothers that kind of were in this hotel room? Remember that part? And then, like,
they're also the funeral, the hearse drivers.
Yeah, but it's just like, it was just so, it didn't feel like James Bond. It just felt like James Bond was in America. And maybe it's because I'm so used to the kind of spate of, when we were looking at the other ones, whether it was Russia, even the one that we saw when it was in Tokyo, or I think from, what was it, From Russia with Love, it was like in Venice too? I can't remember, but like there was a bunch of other places.
The beginning one was like in South America somewhere too.
Yeah, so like, we've seen all these exotic locales, and maybe it's just because the three of us are from North America and we're kind of jaded on that, but I really did not feel like it was a very great end to Sean Connery's legacy for the movie. And honestly, for the life of me, I've always commented on the fact that the plots are so convoluted, right? I couldn't tell you, and Matt, even you, when I was asking Matt, you got to tell me the plot, because honestly, I couldn't tell you why they needed the diamonds. And more importantly, like, why was James Bond realistically involved? It seemed like it was such a domestic affair, American affair, that I didn't understand what the value is, aside from the vendetta that, Blofeld and Bond have, right?
Right, but he didn't know. He didn't even know it was Blofeld from the beginning. It never explains why, like, the British Secret Service is interested in the diamonds. And I think
because what they wanted to do was, they felt that someone was stockpiling the diamonds. They were gonna dump it, and then all the prices would go down.
Right, but why is that? Yeah. Why would that be? Why is that the British Secret Service's job?
Government. Because it's the government, right? They're going to lose money, so...
But wait. But you see, this is the thing. At least with Goldfinger, it made sense, because the Federal Reserve and a lot of governments rely on the gold standard, and that's why when he was talking about stockpiling it and making it go into, like, economic disarray, that made sense. At least for Goldfinger. But in this case, it's hard to say. Like, I don't know what the hell's happening here. Right?
Like, for me, I'm timing and stuff is not, I'm not good at history and all that crap. But with the whole blood diamonds era, like, was this way before that? Because maybe that's how it ties in.
Well, but I don't think, let's be honest here. As much as we like to think things were progressive, it was the 1960s. I think, Ricky, man, black male Americans just got the vote. I think what year was that? What year was that, Matt?
Well,
shame on you, American. You don't know your history.
Technically they got the vote after the Civil War, but it's whole complicated with Jim Crow and stuff in the South, all the way till the 1960s. So,
but that's what I'm saying. So the 1960s, which isn't all too far long ago, is when this movie comes out. And Ricky, for you to say, like, people gave a damn about blood diamonds, that stuff.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Like, I don't mean they really cared like the way we care now, right? Like, we care about everything now. Yeah, I'm just saying, at the time, were diamonds, like, brought up in the, cultural, like, was it a thing where, I don't know, everyone started buying diamonds? Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm saying,
I don't know the history of diamonds.
Was it pervasive? So they were like, we have to put diamonds in because right now diamonds are cool.
The diamonds are important in the movie because Blofeld needs them for a satellite. So that's the reason why the diamonds play the first 3/4 of the movie. Literally, that's 3/4 of the movie, him hunting the diamonds, or following the diamonds, being the diamonds. I mean, somehow the diamonds end up being a chandelier at one point. I mean, even though they were just delivered the second, and all of a sudden they were like a really small container at one point too. I mean, it was like really inconsistent. But Vince, you made a point about this being in America. I mean, was it just me, or were they trying to make fun of America, of how hapless the cops were? Like, some of those cops were like the cop chase scene there in Las Vegas. It was like watching Barney Fife trying to. I mean, it was. I mean, it's so weird.
They're British, so
but it's very. All right, this is my thought. I just want to say this. I made a point last time we did a Bond film where I said Bond was trying to do two different things. It was trying to be a serious movie and trying to be a comedy. This one did the exact same thing. It was very it was very split personality in that way. It had a lot of like it had the serious moments, like where he's stuck in the coffin or whatever and looks like he's going to be burned alive, and then he's saved miraculously at the end, through something stupid. But it also has the cop chase scene and all the horror and the two hapless henchmen that are.
Yeah, those are Rosencrantz and Guildenstern of this movie, man.
Well, it was like the Three Stooges is what reminded me of it. A lot of the stuff in this movie, it was that kind of slapstick humor that isn't really all that funny, and it kind of. I mean, we've given plots for James Bond, a lot of problems throughout the times we've been watching these. This one just seemed like the worst because of the way it tried to, I don't know, cheapen itself with the humor. I mean, he's always had cheesy lines, and I don't mind those even in this movie. It's the other stuff that really bothered me. So Vince, what else were you thinking?
Well, I was gonna say, just coming back to the comment earlier made by Ricky about like the DOS and floppy things. I think that, what was it scene where they were in the computer room and then like for some reason like. I got some issues with the action sequences, like when the ladies are fighting James Bond and the choreography or whatever, the film, it was just so apparent, like the kicks never hit, and then you see them flying through, and you're just, oh my god, this is like B movie kind of.
Well, that, and you could tell those two hadn't been like trained and at least looking like they knew how to fight. They were trying to do like some kind of martial arts poses or whatever, and they were just so bad.
Yeah, but at some point you could have at least had the cinematography, just like, okay, we're gonna make sure that he's in the foreground so we can have him block it so it looks like he takes the hit or something. So there's that stuff, but then it became more of it when I was thinking about like. The computer room, like, you remember the computer room with the cliche globe, but like global domination thing inside the middle of the computer room, and like I think there was like a kick or a shot that hits the computer and the computer sets on fire and explodes, and I was like, whoa, man, what is in that computer? And
glad computers don't do that anymore.
Yeah, but I was just like, what just happened there, man? Like, was it like a gas pump or was it a computer? So it was just kind of funny how like they were, and it was so cheesy, like every time. It just felt like, yeah, like, you're talking about this comedy thing. I wasn't sure if it was like, okay, is it just me, or like have the expectations and standards for movies just gone up really high, or is it that this was supposed to be like Batman, Adam West kind of campy? You know what I mean? Like I couldn't put my finger on it, and I was trying to figure out like, just, how I'm always trying to look at like the zeitgeist of things, like where things sit relative to this. Like I was like, maybe they're trying to pander to the Adam West of things, because it's like that kind of like big ass box with blinky lights. That's a computer, and it does all this. But the more I was thinking about it, it's like, no, because they're trying to talk about like this international espionage thing, like this relationship with China and Spectre and Russia, and I was like, this is actually like geopolitically, that's an interesting premise. And then it's like, but wait, diamonds don't do that. Or wait, why would you do it? Like, there was so many questions, and then when you put on another layer of like just camp, I just couldn't really take it seriously, and that's why I was like, man. Thank God, Sean Connery was able to find a career after the Bond series, because if this was his legacy, man, people would not be bemoaning his death right now.
So the whole geopolitical thing is very interesting, Vince. I think we talked about this before, where the reason why they tried to make it, make light of the entire plot, it was really making fun of itself. Maybe because it was such a serious time period and everybody was worried about nuclear fallout and duck and cover and all that stuff. You think
wasn't that more in the 70s and the 80s? Like the day after was like 1983 or thereabouts. I remember this because I'm old, right? Nuclear holocaust was like the late 70s, early 80s, right?
Well, so this is like, it came out in 71, so I mean it's close, but I don't know.
Okay,
it was just. It might
It
be a
just
little
felt
early.
gross. It just felt really gross.
Yeah.
Like no one that lived through the 70s wants to remember or pretend that they existed in the 70s because it was just polyester. I'd say if you were to use an adjective, everything was sticky. Let's just put it this way: the 70s were sticky, gross, smells like cigarettes. It's just, yeah, it was bad. So like you can feel and see that in all of this movie, right? It was just kind of like the fact that they go to Las Vegas, the smarmiest, sleaziest city in North America, right? I think it just reinforces
Yeah.
that, right? Mind you, again, like the seediness of Las Vegas is not as apparent as I think you might want because, of course, it's Circus. Now, if you go to Circus, the casino hotel now, it is still in the ghetto kind of sketchy part of Vegas. It's on the northern part of the strip. But when this thing was up, it was supposed to be like the penultimate, amazing, fanciful, like it's basically a circus carnival in a hotel and casino. And yeah, they pandered. See, America, this is what happens. Every other James Bond movie, it's like, okay, we're gonna go and have a chess tournament, or we're gonna have like a poker tournament, or some sort of thing. Or it's like, oh yeah, casino, sure, great. But America, you guys take it the next level. Like, yo, we're gonna take a casino and we're gonna play craps. Okay, cool, that's James Bond. Check, dot boxes. And it's like, and we're gonna put it in Las Vegas, and we're gonna put lots of blinking lights, and put lots of dubious acting skills at play, and then also let's have a stupid like a car chase scene, which I mean, Ricky, you certainly must have appreciated that when the car jacks up on 45 degrees for like, I don't know, like half a kilometer. And it's like,
You know what? That's one thing that I thought this movie did way better was the cars. Some of the car stuff. The police chase thing was
because they didn't have a movie backdrop in behind it. Is that why?
Right, but
that's what made it better.
It actually looked like he was actually driving. That's an improvement, right? I mean, over the him turning the wheel 360 degrees and staying in a straight line.
Yep. Yeah, I know. So my thinking is just that it was not a very good movie. I am not going to give this anything great as a rating, man.
All right, Ricky, what did you think of the movie?
Okay, so for me, like I think I said it before when we covered James Bond before, right? Like I watched James Bond like a lot with my dad and various times because I don't know, from his era, I guess he really liked the whole spy thing, and like I think it's his set of favorite films, right? So growing up, I thought it was like so cool, and I mean, much like I think a lot of people. So then when you watch it the second time, you're kind of like trying to make excuses and thinking, okay, so it was, for me, I was just kind of like, okay, maybe at the time when it was released, the things that are there, people more understood it, and because actually when you look it up, right, they said that it came out to critical acclaim. So, but for me watching it now, it was just kind of like it didn't really stick together, it didn't really make you want to say, okay, I mean, like it wasn't action packed where you were like, oh my God, right? It's like, the other Bond film, what was that one called? The one where they were in Jamaica. Um,
Oh crap! Yes, we remember with the bad underwater scenes.
yeah, that one, right? Like at least that one for me, being that I was born in Jamaica, it's like when I watch it, even the accents of the people try to do, it's kind of funny, and you're like, oh my God, and you know what I mean,
Do you not
right?
feel like, hey,
So
that's
it's like,
racist? That's kind of racist, isn't it?
well, it's funny, right? Like for me, it's kind of like I'm watching to see, okay, are they gonna like at least get one person to pull it off? What's gonna be the deal, right? So there's something for me in that one, right? Like in this one, like I said, beyond the fact that, I know I've seen before where in the 2000s, it wasn't, I think it was like 2010, 2012 or something, the Department of Defense was saying like they need to upgrade because they're still running like 486s with floppy drives and stuff. Beyond that, it's like it wasn't really one where I was like, yeah, this is like a classical Bond film and I can excuse it for this and this. I mean, it had like all the earmarkings, the women, the car chase, the, Q with the gadgets, quote unquote. But yeah, it didn't really hit. Maybe at the time it was nostalgia because they brought Sean Connery back. Maybe that
Hmm.
was it. I don't know. Maybe that's why it was like so well received. But yeah, for me, I think I'm in the same boat as Vince. It's not one. It to me when I watched it again, I was like, holy crap! As a kid, I definitely wouldn't have seen this.
Yeah, like I'm thinking. The more you describe how bad it is, the more I'm thinking. Do you think, guys, that the movie was bad because they spent all the money on just getting Sean Connery back? Like honestly,
I know. I was
it's like
gonna
let's
say.
save the money. Let's not go to Jamaica. Let's not go to Tokyo. Let's not go to like all these. Let's go to America. We'll use what's the cheapest place in America? The desert, of course. Good thinking, right? And he goes to casinos. Okay, well, what's the easiest place to get? Hey, Vegas. There we go. Done. All right, cool. And like let's find out how else can we cut corners. Well, outside of Q, were there any other MI6 characters in this movie?
Well, no, because M's not in it,
I mean,
right?
they had
Yeah,
the
so
CIA.
yeah,
The
so then
CIA
basically they
dude,
took all
that
the
was like.
basically it's like okay, so it's like rookie, it's like what was it, expansion draft rookie thing where it's like okay, we can save money by hiring new people and pay nothing because they didn't have to go and pull up like M and anyone else from the old movies, right? So it's like okay, here, look, Connery, you get your money and you get the movie that's gonna be made with whatever like changes on the table, right? So I think that's what happened.
Yeah, Moneypenny was in it for like what 5 seconds or something there. At
Oh,
the,
was she?
Yeah, she played the passport girl there in Amsterdam. Literally, you blink, you missed it because
Oh.
she was literally there for like 5 minutes. She asked him to bring her back a diamond, in a ring, and then he said,
Now I remember,
"Would you,
yeah.
would you rather have a tulip?" I mean, okay. Continue being a douchebag, Bond. All right. All right. So I have. There's just so many things.
It's your fault, man.
I know. I mean, why do I keep torturing? I just keep thinking that the Bond films are going to get better. But unfortunately, the guy who does who did these movies, Guy Hamilton, he does the next 3 films. So these aren't going to get any better. We're not doing another one until next year. I'm just saying we need a break. We just need a break.
Which is not that far off.
I know, but a couple months.
Yeah, it's going to be Roger Moore, though, right?
It will be
Okay.
Roger Moore.
He plays it hammy, and that's fine. I'm okay with that, man.
You know what I think would be fun to do if we did like a show 2 weeks out and we watched an old movie and then we watched a new movie and then we compared them to see like oh this is miles
Like,
apart
watch
or
the next
oh my
Bond
God,
and the
like
very most recent Bond at the same time and see how they
That's not
compare.
even fair. That's not even fair.
No, I'm saying because we're saying like the old ones are really bad, like some of the old ones, right? So it'd be funny if we watched the new ones and we were like, wow, the new ones are still really bad. With the
Well,
change,
we know.
with,
So, I mean,
with
some of the new ones are really bad. Pierce Brosnan was not a good Bond,
Yeah.
and he wasn't all
Well,
that long.
I didn't mind.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I mean, he's better.
with
He's
the-
better than these, but he's not. I mean,
Yeah.
some of the one-liners Pierce Brosnan had were god awful. Say hello to gravity. I mean, it's so bad.
Well,
and
that's
that
the
movie,
thing,
that
right?
movie
Like-
there, that was, I think it was Die Another Day with Halle Berry. That movie is actually very kind of like this one because it's about diamonds, right?
Yeah, I remember.
It's about diamonds.
In space. Yeah.
Yeah, he puts diamonds in space to create this gigantic mirror so that he can burn us all like ants.
Yeah.
I mean, so the
that's what I'm
plots don't
saying.
really get better.
With those being newer, like I would think those are even worse. Like at least those could have an excuse of being so long ago with such a small budget.
All right,
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, like they couldn't even afford good cars. I mean, Ricky, back me up here. Like, was there the Bond Aston Martin in this? No, right?
no.
No, they used American cars, man.
God, man, they even used disposable cars, man. Come on.
Come on, man.
Afford Bond,
they had
like
that-
Aston Martin.
They had the red like GTO or some Charger probably was what it was. Like, that's American muscle. You gotta. It's all right. Anyways, just let me talk about this movie real quick and we can be done. So the first thing I noticed that were bad were the death scenes. The death scenes in this were just terrible. I mean, the acting was bad. I mean, the acting was bad throughout, really, but it was those just really stood out. The plot was so convoluted that it was just, I mean, I'm not a good summarizer of any movie. That's the reason why I have Vince do it all the time, because he's way better at summarizing stuff.
Oh, this one was rough, man.
But there was no summarizing this movie because the plot was all over the place. I mean, 3/4 of the movie was about the diamonds, and the diamonds really, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, was not really all that important, because he's just going to put them up on a satellite, which is led to the supposed main plot, which the main plot really didn't happen until the last, like, I don't know, half an hour. And even when we got to the main plot, it's like Blofeld's reasoning for doing this was nuclear proliferation, or why it's never really. I mean, he wants to get rid of nuclear weapons by using nuclear weapons, or it's so weird.
Like, it's a Bond plot. It's always, the Bond villain always has the convoluted plot that makes no sense. And then when you step back and realize, why are we doing all this? Like, you could have just done, like, to go from point A to point B would have been the easiest route. No, you had to do this weird circuitous kind of A, B, X, Q, R kind of thing to get to B. Like, it doesn't make sense.
And they always have to have this some greater purpose for their evilness or something. It's really weird. I mean, why can't they just have a villain that is in it for the money? I mean, that's what villains are for, is to be in it for the money, unless you're like the Joker or something who's in it for creating chaos. I mean, I suppose you could have a villain like that, but a traditional motive of some kind would be very welcome, because then it would make it, if this had been about the diamonds, like he wanted the diamonds because diamonds are expensive and he could sell them on the black market, it would have made more sense, because then the diamonds, which you spent 3/4 of the movie on, would have actually been important to the story, whereas at this point they weren't really important to the story, because they disappeared until the end, where supposedly there were the stars or something.
Well, no, but Matt, you know what? I will be honest with you. As we go through more of these Bond movies, I think that just in retrospect, I think that the more recent movies give Bond villains a depth, so that financial gain or whatever, and even power, are secondary. They're more of a kind of a function of a bigger goal. Like, you see, like, for example, I'm thinking of the Javier Bardem character. Was it 006 again? In the more recent movies, where again it's like this kind of sense of alienation from MI6 that kind of precipitates that kind of lashing out, right? So I think that as we get more sophisticated characters with more backstory, I think that's where we're going to see that Bond villains are deeply scarred, not physically, but I'm talking about like emotionally or something, and that's what caused them to just put so much effort into doing these things. Because honestly, if it was just simply dollars and cents, as you said, there'd be an easier way to do it. But clearly, and maybe it's not really articulated very well, clearly there's some sort of other issues at play that maybe Fleming was trying to get at that, would have been a little bit more two-dimensional, because the characters are very, very flat, right?
Yeah,
Right.
but I think also apart from that, I think by making it more than just making money, they're trying to get the people watching to sort of have a little empathy with the villain, right? Like, because if the person's not just looking for money, they're trying to, like you said, rid the world of nuclear weapons. Like, someone's gonna say, well, I kind of see, you know what I mean? Like, okay, in this instance, it's like typical Thanos, right? If you look at Thanos, look at the way he's going about it, but his plan is to rid the galaxy of half because people are consuming everything. So the end point of what he's trying to do, you can kind of say, well, it makes sense, but the way he's doing it, you're like, okay, that's just ridiculous, right? So I think they're trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if they were gonna go away from a traditional motive of money or power or whatever, they could do something like, a terrorist plot or something, some kind of religious motivation or something. I don't know. The motivation behind it is really weird. So the only thing I will say about this is that the only good thing about this movie really was the improved way they did the cars. And that's not really
Wait,
saying
it
all
was
that.
American. How is that an improvement?
No, I don't care about the brand of cars. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about
He's
them
talking
actually
about
driving the
chases.
cars. No, even the chases were dumb. I'm not saying they were. I'm just saying that they actually had an actual car chase where, before this movie, you could tell they were in the studio driving a fake car with animations behind them. In this one, they were actually driving the cars. That's the only improvement in this movie. In terms of technology, even all the rest of the technology is kind of degraded because, really, I mean, we talked about the gadgets. He didn't really have any gadgets. He had a sticker on his. Yeah, well, that, and he had a sticker on his thumb to alternate his thing. The woman who changed Chase or whatever, the one that changed her hair all the damn time. She actually had better technology than Bond did because she had a fingerprint recognition computer in her closet. I mean, that's just. I mean, of all the things for a lady to have, that's obviously the biggest necessity.
Maybe when he went across the border, they took all his gadgets away.
I mean, it's just so weird. All right, anyways, Vince, give us a score.
1.
All right.
1 out of 5, man.
Ricky, what would you give?
I'm gonna say 2 out of 5, just because I used to watch it as a kid. But I would not watch it again. So
it gets a nostalgic point.
Yes.
You know what? I'll tell you what. Because Sean Connery just died, I will also give it a 2 out of 5. He gets a pity point for being dead.
Oh man, that's rough. That is rough.
All right, just real quickly before we get into the contact information, Vince, you're the most cinematically knowledgeable amongst the three of us.
Man. I don't know.
Was Sean Connery ever in a good movie?
Yeah, the Untouchables. He won an Oscar for it.
Okay. I'm going to have to watch that because every Sean Connery movie I've seen, he's terrible in. So he's in The Name of the Rose, which is the worst movie I've ever seen.
That's not a bad movie, but it's just that you should not have got a guy who doesn't change his accent. Like the same reason why when he was in Hunt for Red October, you're like, dude, you're supposed to be Russian? With a Scottish accent.
That was the other movie I've seen him in. It was Hunt for Red October. And both of those movies are based on books which are good books. I mean, Hunt for Red October is high literature or anything, but it's one of Tom Clancy's better books at least. And The Name of the Rose is Umberto Eco, and it's a phenomenal book. The movie was god awful, I don't blame Sean Connery for that. It was okay, but whatever.
Matt,
but
you know what? Put it on the docket. The Untouchables is a very good movie. It takes liberties. You might like it because it's happening during the Prohibition. It deals with Elliot Ness. Deals with a whole bunch of fun things. Kevin Costner, your boy Kevin Costner's in it. It's from the 80s, I think. No, he doesn't sing, but it's a good movie. I think Ricky, I even think you would like it too, because it's
okay.
Is that going to be your choice for because you had to choose next?
Well, yeah, you know what? I'll do. Yeah, the only problem is at the end scene, but yeah, when you watch it, you'll be like, okay, and then you'll be curious because you'll be like, what part is real? Because it's based on true fact, right? It's based on a true story. So when you watch The Untouchables, you'll be like, what really happened? Because there's some stuff where you're like, nah, that couldn't have happened, and then you're like, this did happen, and you're like, wait, no, it doesn't. Like, there's some stuff that they do in the movie that you're like, hey, that's impossible. Then you're like, oh wait, that did happen. And other things you're like, nah, no one would do that. Oh crap, that happened. So
all right, so we have our next movie. We're gonna watch The Untouchables. We're gonna give ourselves another one with Sean Connery.
Okay, but I'm not saying it's I think it's a fun movie. But you're asking the best Sean Connery movie. That's probably universally going to be one that would people.
Then I want to watch it because every movie I've watched him in is just bad. Okay, so just again, real quickly, of the Bond movies he was in, which was your favorite?
Oh, dude, man, I couldn't.
I'm gonna go with the first one. Was the first one Dr. No?
Yeah, maybe.
I think I'd go with the first. What about you, Ricky? Do you have a favorite of his?
One. No, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
Was he in
they're all universally have.
Goldfinger? I can't even remember.
Yeah, he was in Goldfinger.
Yeah. I think that would be my favorite.
Ah, that is a rough one too, man.
Yeah, but see, when I'm going off favorites, if you ask me now, it's not because I watched it and we're reviewing it. It's because I'm thinking about when I watched them as a kid, which one, you know what I mean? So
that's fair.
It's
I get that, but
you remember stuff as a kid, better than you would remember it,
Yeah.
like now.
But I can't even remember the plots for the. Like I remember that this is the movie where Blofeld's in. This is the movie where they go to Japan. This is the movie where they go to the West Indies. That's all I remember. I don't remember the.
Like it's like I always go back to this. It's like when I remember the Terminator as a kid, like that movie blew my mind. When I watched it the other day, the end sequence with the cybernetic robot and the crushing machine, I literally laughed. It was like someone with like 3D animation software on like a Pentium 2 could have done a better job.
Well, that was a lot
So
of
it's kinda-
motion capture. I mean, not motion capture. That was a lot of like blue screen and like stop motion.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, right? Like it's like as a kid when I watched it, I was blown away. Right? So like when you ask me about a Bond film, that's like I'm thinking back to when I first watched it. I'm not like when I watch it for us to review, it's different, right? Because I'm watching it specifically for the review, right? It's like it's two different viewing methods. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. I just, ugh. Yes.
All right. I'm gonna stop at. I will stop asking hard questions. All right. So that's it for us this time. Rest in peace, Sean Connery. We're gonna do one more movie with you in it. And then we're gonna take a Sean Connery break.
We'll redeem Sean Connery with the Untouchables.
Good. He's not gonna get a pity point for the next time though. He only dies once.
No.
Hey, maybe that's the next Bond film. He only dies once.
Yeah.
You better trademark that.
Yeah. All right. If you want to get in contact with us and just deplore our horrible puns, you can do it at the 3castshow@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at the 3cast. Follow Ricky is Ricky_Williams1. Vince is VWHUI. I'm at MTWB. You can also follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/the 3cast. I am not exactly sure when our next episode is going to be. Probably sometime towards the after American Thanksgiving. But we'll talk about that, in chat. Anyways, we'll see you next time.
Take care, guys.
See you, everyone. Stay safe.